recognize the member for Nevis 3.
Madam President, I rise, with your leave, to give an update with regards to some of the activities in terms of my ministry as well. And I greet all of the folks on this side, the other side, and all of those who are here in Parliament today. And I will start first, Madam President, by addressing our fishers, because today is World Fisheries Day. And I would like at this point to salute all of our fishermen, all who are involved in fishing, all who are involved in that very noble profession. And of course, it is celebrated across the United Nations. And it is being celebrated under the theme this year, Cast the Net. And of course, that is inspired by the biblical passage in the book of John, chapter 21 and verse 6. Madam President, I want to let our fishermen know that they are appreciated highly by the Nevis Island administration, by myself as the minister, from, of course, the Department of Marine Resources. Of course, we know that fishing is a very, very risky business. And it is not everyone who have the courage to be a fisherman. And of course, we have to salute our fishermen who take a lot of time and energy. And sometimes they spend practically all day on the water. And of course, we know there are times when we hear remote cases where we find fishermen go out to sea, and for whatever reason, they do not come back. So it is important that we show our fishermen how important they are. And it is important that at all times we keep our fishermen and their families in our prayers, because we know how the ocean can get at times. And so we salute them. I know sometimes the fishermen tend to believe that they do not get enough support from us as at the ministry, but I want to let them know that we are here to support them. Of course, you know that, and of course all of us would know, that since COVID in particular, we would have placed a lot of emphasis on agriculture, and that includes the fishing industry as well. And so some of the concessions, some of the support that was given to our farmers was also given to our fishermen. I want at this time, as we celebrate World Fisheries Day, to also admonish our fishermen to kindly try to be as respectful as possible to the sustainability of the fishing, the sustainability of the marine resources. I want to encourage our fishermen to try not to overfish. Try not to take the undersized lobsters, the undersized fish, because we have to leave some for other days to come. I want the fishermen at all times to respect the off-season when it comes to turtle harvesting and so on. And so I'm encouraging the fishermen. I know it is your trade. I know it is a trade in which you have to make a living. But we have to realize that if we overfish and we take the undersized marine resources, there will be none left for the weeks and the months and the years to come. And so I'm encouraging our fishermen. I want also as well, Madam President, to encourage us, because the fishermen depend on the ocean. And I've said at this podium on many occasions that we must at all times try to ensure that our marine environment is in pristine condition so that our marine life could thrive. And when our marine life thrives, our fishermen can thrive in the industry. And so I'm making a call once again to all residents and nationals of this beautiful island of Nevis, and of course the extension, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to kindly desist from indiscriminate dumping. When we dump in the guts, most of what we dump in the guts end up in the ocean, and it pollutes the ocean. And when it pollutes the ocean, the marine life that is in the ocean consumes the polluted garbage, and it ends back up in our system at times. I recall I would have spoken about plastics and the risk of marine plastics getting into the fish or the marine life, and then we consuming that, and that could be carcinogenic. And so I'm sounding the warning once again to all of us to be responsible. Try not to do indiscriminate dumping. We have a landfill, and of course it is not very expensive to take your garbage to the landfill. It's very disheartening, Madam President, when we go around and we see all the garbage in the guts. So I'm asking us to support our fishermen and to ensure that the marine environment remains pristine. And so I want to take this opportunity to wish our fishermen and all involved in fishing a happy World Fisheries Day. I also want to encourage us for this week to support by eating more seafood. When you go to the restaurants, when you go to the hotels, order a seafood lunch or a seafood dinner. And I want at this time as well just to briefly highlight the rest of the activities for this week, because the Department of Marine Resources in St. Kitts and Nevis have arranged a number of activities. There was a beach cleanup in Nevis earlier this week. It was addressed by the ministers both on St. Kitts and Nevis. Yesterday was Wear Blue Day. Today is Media Day. On Wednesday we have staff development seminar. On Thursday we have talks in schools. And Thursday is Seafood Thursday at the Nevis Fisheries Complex. And so you can go and get all of your fisheries or your marine or your seafood delicacies at the Fisheries Complex on Thursday. On Friday, there's a Fish Fry Friday at the Bastia Fisheries Complex. And on Saturday, there's a beach cleanup in St. Kitts as well. And so I'm encouraging us all during this week. Today, let us salute and pay homage to our hard-working fishermen. Turning to agriculture, Madam President. And of course, I'll have a lot more to say about agriculture in the budget when it comes up very shortly. But I think it is important and timely that I update very briefly on some happenings in agriculture in my ministry and in my department. And Madam President, I want to say here that there has been a lot of good things happening in the agriculture sector, in the agriculture industry here on the island of Nevis. And it's because why so many good things are happening, why we have received the attention of persons in our neighboring islands. During the past couple of weeks, Madam President, we've had numerous visits. And we would have had visit from officials from the Park Hyatt Hotel in St. Kitts who came to visit us and to see what we are doing and what we have to offer. And I can say that since that visit from the officials of Park Hyatt, the orders are rolling in at the abattoir, they're rolling in at the agro-processing center. And so what we are doing, people are looking at what we are doing. I can also indicate to the listening and the viewing public and to all here that we would have had a visit from some farmers, a delegation of farmers from St. Kitts just across the water. And they came to see what we are doing. It shows that what we are doing is resonating across the water, and it is resonating in the sub-region. And so we had a number of farmers who came over from St. Kitts, from the St. Kitts Consortium. And Madam President, those farmers were blown away. And when I say blown away, and impressed with what we are doing here on the island of Nevis. There has been a video that has been circulating, and of course the comments that are coming from our farmers really should make us, all of us on the island of Nevis, very proud. Then, the following day, we had a team of 6 from the Ministry of Agriculture in Anguilla. And let me say here boldly that none of these visits we asked them to pay. They did it on their own. They wanted to come to see what we are doing. So we had a delegation of 6 from the Ministry and the Department of Agriculture in Anguilla. They came to see what we are doing, to see how they can adopt what we are doing in their circumstances there. And here again, Madam President, they were impressed. Madam President, the following day, so that was 3 days in a row, we had 3 persons from Antigua. And they came because they are beginning to see a problem with the green vervet monkey. They are aware that we have this problem here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and so they wanted to come to see what we are doing here, to see what best practices they can adopt before the situation gets too bad in Antigua. And so they came, and we were able to take them around to show them what we are doing in terms of the control. And here again, Madam President, they were impressed. And the good thing about it is, they came to look at what we are doing, but when they came, they said boldly that this is just the start of a relationship that will commence between the department here and the department in Antigua, where they want to come and see more of what we are doing. Madam President, last week we also had a training for poultry production. And of course, we have said much about the broiler production industry that we are intending to set up here on the island of Nevis. And through the partnership with IECA, we were able to get a consultant from Trinidad who was here for almost a week. He would have done training in Nevis. He would have done training in St. Kitts. Here again, Madam President, the gentleman was impressed with what we are doing. He would have seen the equipment that we purchased, impressed with the equipment that we purchased, and he has committed to assisting us in terms of the development of that industry. Only this morning, before I came to Parliament, I had another visit of a gentleman from FAO in Barbados, and he's here in the Federation to look at digitization of the agricultural sector. So, Madam President, our agriculture industry and sector on the island of Nevis is going places. I salute again the good folks at the Ministry and the Department of Agriculture, and together we will continue to be the beacon of agriculture in the sub-region. May it please you, Madam President.